Okay, here's what's up. I am pedaling my bicycle in the cold in Florida. And when I pedal my bicycle, I get fired up. I get instructions from Father. So here's what's going on. Mechanics of the Spirit Realm. Issue number 1. The Mechanics of the Spirit Realm starts out with sex and spirits around sex problems. I have a friend who grew up in standard church where there's no honesty times. And that friend had some selfish problems in the sexual department. But he's a Christian, he loves Jesus. He is in the church atmosphere that has cut out Jesus' command to have honesty times before prayer, before worship, and before communion, and literally to be a purified family before God, and to purify ourselves before we do any spiritual activity. So, this friend of mine grew up in a crippled atmosphere. He actually has some sex spirits around him, some unclean spirits around him in the sex department, department of unrighteous desire and stuff like that. And because there is a cloud of spirits around him, the woman that he marries becomes under the influence of those sex spirits, and she is a resistor of sexual desire. She is referred to by her husband as a spiritual anorexic. A sexual anorexic. She refuses to get into sex enjoyment. This is the presence of actual unclean spirits. If somebody's daddy is a violent alcoholic, the same alcoholic demons sit down on the children and cause them to be extremely violently anti-drinking to a point where they go crazy when they hear about somebody drinking. It's the same demons. There's an old saying, sin skips a generation. The effect of sins hurts the children growing up. They're hyper aware of that one sin that hurt them. They are super, super cautious in that area of that one sin that hurt them. And then the next generation is back in that sin because they were so intensely negative about that one sin, they went overboard. And their next generation is like, oh, I don't care about that stuff. We'll just do this however we want to. So sin skips a generation because you have unclean spirit beings surrounding you, trying to remain in family lineages. Those spirits never die. Those spirits do not die. They have been around for ages. They have been watching the human family, watching babies get born, and doing their best to try to get anger, obsessions, all kinds of bad habits into the children at an early age because they bind in and then they cause these behaviors. Some of your behavior is because of the angels of light that are around you in your generation that bring the artifice and the creativity and the flair. That's partly angels of light. And some of the evils are because of unclean spirits that are binding in to your family setting. So, here's the reality. I'm dealing with a precious friend who was afflicted by sex spirits and then stuck in a marriage where he was completely shut off from sex by his wife, and now those unclean sex spirits are still messing around with him. And what he needs is the atmosphere that Jesus asked for, which is a truly round, whole family where we are real about those things that are common to human beings. If we can't confess and be real and peaceable about the kind of stuff that generally happens to us, there's no way that we're going to get victory over long-standing strongholds of demon troubles. Now, the same kinds of afflictions apply in places where people are success-oriented and money-oriented and oriented towards degrees and teaching and intellect and all this stuff. It is so important to understand the mechanics of the spirit realm. This is a primary part of our friendship with God. And I beseech you with all my heart to be afraid of doing any kind of church without people that are not talking about regular honesty times before prayer, before worship, before communion. If they're not doing that, it's a danger zone. And it is an atmosphere where people can discover God, get saved, have a few things, good things happen to them, and then they can actually, through attrition and through not maintaining one another's souls together, they can have no maintenance to their soul, and they can literally spiritually slip away and die. The path is narrow, and few people will find it. Many will say to Jesus, hey, we did all these powerful things in your name. And he's like, look, your hearts were far away from me. You didn't feel like doing the difficult things that I asked. You just did the fun things. This is the mechanics of the spirit realm. Beware of comfortable modern Christianity and tons of teachers who do not repetitively teach about regular honesty times.